Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a vlog style Q&A. So I'm going to answer your questions. I asked you guys in my Facebook group to give me whatever questions, whether they're eczema related, if they're personal, if they're like my eczema story. So I'm going to be answering that throughout my day and bringing my vlogging camera with me. So I have my best friend here. Her name is Emily. You've probably seen her in some of my other videos, especially my travel videos. And she's just gonna ask me a couple questions that you guys have asked me. So we're gonna do that, and then I don't know what I'm doing for the rest of the day.
What are the top 3 supplements that you believe everyone should take?
So whether or not you have eczema, so even if you're perfectly healthy, I think that almost every single person should be taking probiotics, vitamin D, and omega-3. And it's because, especially if you live in America, most of our foods are extremely inflammatory. And the omega-3 works as an anti-inflammatory substance. Vitamin D, it doesn't even matter if you live in Florida or if you live in California, most of us are not getting enough vitamin D from the sun. So as you see, I'm sitting in the sun right now. The sun is a source of vitamin D, but the sun also has harmful UV rays. So you want to limit the time that you spend in the sun. You want to protect your skin with sunblock, but also you want to get some sun, and I recommend taking a vitamin D supplement.
What is your favorite sweet treat?
Yeah, so like many of you, I have a massive sweet tooth. So a lot of us end up having really bad sweet tooth. A lot of that comes from the bacteria that lives in our gut. So the bacteria that you have in your gut actually influences your cravings. So if you're somebody that craves sweets all the time, you probably have a buildup of a bacteria called yeast that lives in your gut. And so you can drink something called Paw d'Arco tea to get rid of that. But I still like sweet treats in moderation, and my favorite is chocolate chip cookie dough. Freaking airplane.
How do you know when to transition between the stages of eczema?
So the short answer is, my program truly addresses that question. So the 6-week program, every single week I've created videos for you guys to watch, and one of the videos talks all about transitioning between the stages, and the ebook that I offer through the program has a page all about transitioning. So the short answer is you have to test stage 2 foods, 1 food at a time, to see if you're in stage 2. If a food makes you itch, then you're in stage 1 still. So it's kind of something that I have to work one-on-one with a person through my program to figure out.
That's not eczema friendly.
It's not. Well,
cinnamon.
yeah, I think that is the only thing that's not. Everything else is perfectly fine for like stage 1 even.
Okay.
Except the cinnamon.
What is the best meal to prep at home to bring for work and school?
So I really encourage you guys to try to meal prep ahead of time so that you don't end up at work or school without the foods that you guys need. So for example, rice is really easy to bring around. It's not going to go bad quickly. Things like fish you probably don't want to take to work or school because 1, when you heat it up in the microwave, it's going to smell kind of bad, and 2, it doesn't last at room temperature quite as long. But I really encourage you guys to bring things like bananas, fruit, anything that's not messy or easy. So when you guys are traveling, just make sure you have a banana or like a pear to eat. Also, you can bring things like beans, and you can always bring things like cut up papaya, so you can cut it up, put it in a little container, and bring it with you to school or work. Papaya has digestive enzymes and is safe.
Sorry, I tried to hold that off for as long as I could.
And it's safe for stage 1 eczema.
What are the main causes of leaky gut?
So some of the main causes of leaky gut is stress, and basically different parts of your diet will cause leaky gut. So for example, there's different substances that'll dig through the intestine lining just because that's the nature of the protein. So for example, there's something in egg whites called lysosine, and so what that does for the actual egg, it allows the chick to break through the shell of the egg. So in our bodies, it works the same way. And we actually have lysosine in different parts of our body. We produce it naturally. It's like in our tear ducts. But when you consume egg whites, I have so many research studies that prove that it does the same thing as it does to the shell of an egg, and it digs through our intestine lining. Other things are gluten and dairy. So the lactose in dairy and gluten is a protein in itself that digs through the intestine lining. So someone asked such an amazing question. They asked me how my life has changed since I chose this path to heal my eczema naturally. And honestly, my entire life has changed. Everything. It's like the more conscious you become of the toxins that are in and around your body, the more aware you are of everything. So like now I don't just buy shampoo for the smell of it. I make sure that all the ingredients are clean and that they won't harm my body. I think it's turned me into such a leader, and I couldn't be any more grateful for that. But I think the most important thing that I realized is that eczema is such a blessing, because a lot of people get severe eczema earlier in their life. And if you make the right adjustments at this age, then you're preventing huge diseases later on in your life. This lifestyle change of eating clean and avoiding refined sugar prevents you from having cancer, diabetes, obesity, heart disease later in life. And I couldn't be any more grateful, because the way I used to eat, I was on a path that probably would have led me to at least be pre-diabetic sometime in my life. So it's been the best and worst thing for me. You know, it sucks to go through, but coming out the other side, it's like the best thing that ever happened to me. Okay, so it's a couple days later. I just took a shower. That's why my hair looks kind of strange. But I wanted to finish off and just answer some of the last questions that I have. I am so happy that you guys actually took the time to ask me questions, because I know it's important and I want to connect with you guys more and more. So here are some of the last questions. So one, is it okay to eat rice? Yes, it's absolutely fine to eat rice. That's safe for pretty much all the stages of eczema. And the best rice you can choose is basmati white rice. Another question I received is, someone asked, what's the cutoff time for getting a reaction to something? So I think they wanted to know if, like, for example, they ate an orange and they weren't supposed to, or it wasn't part of the diet plan. Will that reaction show up right away, or will you possibly see it later? And this is kind of a complicated question to answer, because there's kind of two answers. So it depends if you're having a leaky gut reaction or if you're having a salicylate reaction. So salicylate or histamine reactions, any allergic reactions will happen within 1 to 2 hours. But if you're consuming something that damages leaky gut, then you're gonna have a leaky gut reaction, which will show up a week, 2 weeks out. So it just kind of depends what you ate that's wrong. Another question I received was, how do you deal with the pain of eczema? And it's tricky. So one thing I want you guys to know is that you should never, ever, ever take pain relieving pills. They're gonna make your leaky gut worse. So putting that on the table. So one thing that I used to use is I would use essential oils to try to get rid of the like nerve pain or the severe itch. And so back when I used to have it, I used tea tree oil mixed with olive oil. So like 2 drops to like 1/4 a cup of olive oil. And then this year I've been encouraging people to try to mix geranium oil with whatever moisturizer that they're using, because the geranium oil works to take the itch out, to take the nerve pain out. So that's one way of dealing with it. Another way is, this is something I actually talked about in my very first eczema video that I ever made, and it's, you should try to wear things that don't irritate the skin. So for example, stay away from wool. Wool has like very itchy fibers. Wool's made from like sheep, it's like sheep wool. So like you shave a sheep and that's where wool comes from. Or so materials that probably won't agitate the skin is silk or silk-like materials. Spandex doesn't really irritate the skin. But you want to be careful with materials that don't breathe, because eczema doesn't really like to be hot. So if your body starts to get really hot wearing a certain material, try to find a cooler, lighter material. Really soft cottons are good. I really like to wear like fleece sweatshirts, and I always made sure that my clothes didn't fit tightly on where my eczema was, which was my arms. So that's what I used to use for that. So I don't think this is an eczema related question. I think this question was addressing me in general. And I was asked what my #1 tip is for staying motivated. And so I'm gonna apply this to eczema, but I'm also gonna talk about how I stay motivated in general. And the #1 tip I have is find your why. So that means find the reason why you're on this journey. Whatever you're trying to stay motivated to do, find your why. So if you're trying to lose weight, why are you trying to lose weight? Is it something that's actually meaningful, or is it to impress other people? So once you find that why, your motivation is there, because you know why you're doing this and you know why you're progressing. So relating that to eczema, it's like, if you know in your heart that you can heal naturally and you just know that you can do this, that's your why. Or if you know in your heart that you can't treat eczema through topical steroids and through medications, if you just know that that's not the right thing to do, that's your why. And that was my why. I knew that I didn't have to take pills or put something on my skin that was in the long run gonna make things worse. I knew there had to be a root cause of eczema, and that was my why, and that's how I learned how to heal it. So to wrap things up from here, I'm so happy that you guys asked me these questions, because it lets me know how I can connect with you better. And if I always try to answer your questions as my channel grows and as my Facebook group grows and Instagram grows. It becomes harder for me to talk one-on-one with everybody and answer every single person's question. So, one option is you can, ask me during these Q&As, or another thing is you can join my program and you won't have to really ask me that many questions. But during my program, I obviously prioritize my clients, and I will answer every single question that you could possibly have. I'll answer it just because, I care about my clients. I know their information. I can talk to them one-on-one. It's getting to be a little trickier to answer everyone's questions, because I have to sit down and interview you and know about your eczema and know about your allergies you've had in the past and your medical history. So, if I keep encouraging my program, it's just because it lets us form a connection, it lets me support you better, and you're gonna have all the resources you need to heal your eczema forever. So after the 6-week program, you won't even need me. So that's why I created it, and that's why I'm encouraging it a lot lately. But of course, if you just have like 1 or 2 questions about anything about eczema, feel free to message me. I'm gonna try my best to keep in contact with everyone. Just know as the channel grows and as my social presence grows, it'll be a little bit more difficult, but I will try my best. And especially if you join my Facebook group, if you do that, you can ask the group questions and they'll be able to probably get to you quicker than I can. So thank you guys for your questions. If you have any more, leave them in the comments down below. And if you like this type of video, like if you like me answering a bunch of different questions in one video, give this a thumbs up because my videos are usually very specific and I talk about one single topic per video. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.
I like crashing waves.